Hi everyone, I'm Christina Herrick. I'm the editor of Athletic Turf News, and I have Adam Coleman, Vice President of Marketing and Innovation with the Motz Group, and Ben Jackson, Director of Brand for the Columbus Crew, and they're here to talk to me today about a pretty cool thing they did at their stadium, at the stadium end, to talk to me a little bit about the project. So, Ben, tell me a little bit about MAPFRE Stadium. Did I say that right? I've been practicing MAPFRE. Tell me about the turf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
MAPFRE.
MAPFRE.
Yeah, it's a 20. We're in our 22nd year for the field right now, and so I want to say it's probably the oldest field in the league. It was built in '99 and originally bluegrass, and it's been resurfaced once in 2006. But other than that, it's pretty much the same field that was installed back when the stadium opened. It's got a 10-inch root zone. It's pretty standard drainage and all that. There's nothing too special about it. It's talking with some past groundskeepers. They always say it's got a little magic in it. I think our climate here sets up really well for bluegrass and going along with our playing schedule. So we feel like we've always got a pretty good opportunity to provide a good playing surface for the guys.
So Ben, tell me a little bit too about how everything going on with the pandemic has affected both the season and then also your management of the field itself.
Yeah, the season obviously has been largely affected. It's me and my staff we're used to working towards that next game or the next training session, and it's all of that coming to a grinding halt really quick was a big change. So not having those little deadlines and carrots to work towards are it's very different. But obviously our work hours have slowed a little bit on site. We're still staying pretty busy at home when we are at home, just due to the new facilities that we've got coming down the road here soon over the next year, which is nice to be able to not have to just kind of twiddle our thumbs at home when we're not here. But as far as the management of the field goes, we've backed off a little bit on certain areas and gotten more aggressive in others. So raising the mowing height was something we did pretty quick, just to back off on mowing. We don't have to mow quite as often now. We've used stepped up growth regulators and tried to slow it down a little bit more. And so that's helped out. We probably mow 2 or 3 times a week now, as compared to, in a game week, we're probably mowing the field 7 or 8 times on a game week, burning patterns in, et cetera. But other than that, like fertility and stuff, we're staying pretty much the same, but we have gotten a little bit more aggressive too in our like airification or cultural practices. We, not knowing what's coming down the road here, and whether it's a month from now or however long this ends up going, we basically need to put ourselves in a position to where we can host a decent amount of games once things open up. So trying to set ourselves up for the most flexibility and long-term success once things get going. We've got to take that into consideration now. So just being aggressive where we can, but then also not overdoing it, and investing a bunch of inputs into stuff where it isn't really necessary right now.
So you mentioned turf patterns and everything like that. So Ben, tell me a little bit about how the project that we're talking about started, and then we can kind of rope Adam into that too and kind of explain your part of it too, Adam. So
yeah. Well, I got an email from Ryan from the Motz Group. It probably would have been about a month ago, and asking about if we'd be open to talking about looking at new technology and in the industry, and just if we'd be open to trying anything new out. And so I told him, yeah, sure, that sounds great. I had no idea what he was talking about, but then after that, Adam reached out to me and filled me in on what they were looking to do, and it sounded awesome. I'd heard of the machine before and knew what it could do. Had seen how well it worked, and was very interested in trying it out. And they were willing enough to come down and work with us on this pattern, and especially like this message was really exciting to work on and be a part of. And so from my side of it, I'll let Adam talk about his side, but from my side, it was just kind of getting everybody here on board in our front office, and it didn't take much. It was pretty much a couple emails back and forth, and everybody kind of realized the potential that this had to really make an impact. And so we basically just got to work with Adam and his crew about figuring out what things were going to look like, and talk about what they were thinking of. But then it was a very collaborative effort, and it's something we were really happy to be a part of.
Yeah, so we'd been looking at this technology earlier in the year before all the COVID-19 issues really became real and really started to affect our lives. And we'd reach out to a couple clubs, and they were gearing up for the season, so it didn't make a lot of sense. But then as the delays started to roll in and seasons were being postponed, we got to kind of thinking that this could be a really cool opportunity, because fans are clamoring for some engagement with the club. They want to be in the seats, they want to see their players, but obviously it's not possible under these conditions. So are there other creative ways that we can kind of create an intersection between the fan engagement, rallying the community together, and then just highlighting the club and their role in the community? Being an Ohio guy through and through, born and raised, I really felt like, this location in the central part of Ohio would be ideal to kind of really rally the state around a message and really kind of be able to give back in a small but meaningful way. So reaching out to Ben, and he was open to the idea, which is great. Kind of takes a pioneer and someone to say, yeah, that fits within kind of what we're trying to do here. And he presented it to his front office, and there's a pretty large creative team and social media team that came up with this image. So this was, really their idea to have the state as well as the crew logo there and the message. And then this was definitely the largest image of its type that has been put on turf. So it's about 170 feet wide by 130 feet tall. So huge canvas and billboard, and Ben and his team did an awesome job with the Mo pattern and really framing it in and set us up well for the execution.
So Adam, talk to me a little bit about the design process, and then also kind of how you translate that design to the field using some of this technology that you've talked about.
Yeah, so they came up with several variations of the logo and the message, and then our team works with the founder of the technology, who's based in California, and we convert that image over to something that the machine can print on the field. So the machine sees the image in 3-inch pixels. So it takes that image, we blow it up to the size we want, and then it looks at every image or every pixel being either a dark or light pixel. And then as it's moving over the field, it will move the grass forward or backward with air to make that dark or light pixel. So when you when you stand right on top of it, some of the curves aren't as crisp, but as you zoom back out to the stadium level, your eye sort of rounds everything out, and it looks like a really cool fluid image on the field.
So was it just a traditional mower? I guess this is probably for both Ben and Adam. Is it just a traditional mower then with this technology mounted on top?
Yeah, it's a 0-turn Cub Cadet mower, so pretty lightweight, about 1,200 pounds. But the mowing deck, the traditional mowing deck, has been removed, and there's we call it a print deck underneath. And a really savvy engineer out in California created this technology, and it's the name of that company is New Ground Technology. And the print deck underneath has a series of valves connected to an air compressor, and that all that's connected to a touch panel on the front of the unit, front of the mower. And that's what is connected to the GPS unit, the laser unit over to the side of the field. And so through the laser and the GPS and the technology on board of that mower, it opens and closes the valves as you move over the field to create the image.
What were some of the challenges? Adam, I guess we'll start with you. What were some of the challenges? And then Ben, we'll bounce over to you of going from computer to mow pattern.
Yeah, in terms of the challenges, it really went smoothly. There was one hiccup we had where the laser unit was reflecting off of a window in the kind of in the background behind our machine, so we were losing connection with the unit until we realized kind of the laser was bouncing off something beyond the machine. So we were just able to move that laser unit and kind of pick back up where we left off. That particular day was extremely windy. It was a super gusty day, and so flying the drone in that proved a little bit of a challenge, but we got through it.
Yeah, that was the drone definitely was. I was nervous he wasn't going to be able to get that up there, but that thing was a monster. So we probably had 40-mile-an-hour winds, gusts that day at least. So that was interesting to watch. But from our side, there, Adam and his group came in and ran the machine, and we pretty much just prepped everything, and then they came in and worked their magic. So from our end, we didn't have it was mostly just a game day setup for us, which actually, the guys, like all of us, really enjoyed, because we just haven't gotten a chance to do that for a while. So the day before, we came in and painted for pretty much a match day paint, and we burn in the base pattern probably a little over a week before, and Jack on our staff, Jack Bengal, did most of that mowing and did a good job. And we basically just wanted to lay out a canvas, a blank canvas for the photo, and so, or the logo, and that's any groundskeeper or anybody that's mowed a field with a real mower before and laid in a pattern like this knows that it's a heck of a lot of driving, because you're mowing all that in one direction, and doing that for 7 to 10 days straight can get it was nice to get out there and do it. We really enjoyed it, but it was a lot of a little bit of extra driving for us, but we were really happy with the way it ended up.
From the day that you actually showed up on the field to the end of the design, how long did that take?
I think we got started around maybe 10:30 or 11 o'clock that day, and we were wrapped up by 4, so about 4 or 5 hours.
Ben, what is the maintenance like for this type of pattern? Are you going to continue to maintain it, let it grow out, like come back in, do it again? What's the maintenance like?
Well, I'd love for them to come back out and do it again, but with this kind of machine and with these patterns, usually it's once you mow the field, you're kind of laying a new pattern into it. And so this actually, I was surprised. We aerified the day after. And so I thought we were going to beat it up a lot, but even with the cores out there, and then after we swept it, you could still see it a little bit. Now our grass was longer than you typically would have an athletic sports field, especially in soccer. We're usually mowing around 7/8 of an inch, and I think it was probably around 1 1/8 inches, maybe a little bit longer than that when we did it. So I think that grass was laying over a little bit more than it typically would, but it was pretty much out after 3 or 4 days, and that was without, we hadn't mowed it or anything, just swept it a couple times and ran a tractor over it. But no, I would have loved to keep it in there, but Adam and his guys took the machine with them when they left that day. So it's unfortunately it's not in there anymore.
So what has the response been like?
It's pretty tremendous. The crew's social media and marketing team did an awesome job of doing a time lapse, as well as some videos and some still shots kind of through the process, and then created that little 1-minute video. So between their social media posts, which was a teaser image the day of, like that evening, and then followed up with the video the next day, in the first 3 or 4 days, there were over 25,000 social media engagements with the video and the photo. So between likes and reshares and video views, it was well over 25,000.
So I guess I'll leave this up to both of you. Is there anything else about the project that you'd like to share or is interesting that I didn't ask about?
You know, Ben, from a groundskeeper's perspective, I think one of the questions we get is what kind of impact or a lack thereof is there with, you know, this machine and the way it's moving the blades, you know, one way or another with air. Just want to hear from your perspective, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you mentioned earlier how it's really just a Z-turn unit, which is relatively lighter than a lot of the equipment that we've got out there pretty often. So from a compaction standpoint, it's not, you know, it's the effects are minimal. But then also the air that it's blowing, it's, you know, I was kind of curious to, you know, wondering how aggressive that was going to be, and I didn't notice any kind of negative impact that it had, and it was, you know, these guys went over the pattern twice and to burn it in a little bit more, but even doing that was just very, very low impact, and not something that I would hesitate to do again, you know, once we had the opportunity to do it again. The airs, I would say it's, you know, when you're mowing with the triplex mower or a walk behind unit, you're actually like touching that grass and laying it over with mechanically with something, and I think the air is less aggressive than that. So from a plant health perspective, I would say there's really no impact at all.
You know, one of the cool things about this technology is if you have like a weekend series or you're going to be mowing and you want that image to kind of pop back out after that next mow, as long as we have our GPS coordinates of our start point, we can go and refresh that image right over top of the previous or the original image. So we can keep bringing that thing back to life every other day, every week, right in the exact same spot.
That is really cool, especially for turf that gets some wear and tear, and you definitely would need to continue to maintain that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to thank you so much, Ben and Adam, for talking to me about the project and about the technology used. It's really interesting, and I definitely want to learn a lot more about what you've done.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate it, and thanks to Ben and his crew for working with us on this. It went really, really smoothly, and that's because they're experts and professionals at what they do.
Yeah, thanks, Christina, a lot, and also to Adam and the Motz Group, because this wouldn't happen without them. But also they were a pleasure to work with, very easy to work with, and they made the whole process very enjoyable. So looking forward to doing it again.